When you get pressure and challenge from other people, it's really important to be truthful, to be able to have the words, the language, the patience to speak directly about what's important to you. And when you don't, and I know because for 30 years I've been a healthcare professional, psychotherapist, psychologist and coach. My name's Poppy. I work for you. I'm unaffiliated. When you don't listen to yourself, you know this from the red flags that got ignored, and talk straight, you will suffer anything from resentment, guilt, shame to physical issues like fibro and worse. Sarah, you challenged me on, you say you're a psychologist, etc. Prove it, I think is basically what you're saying, and then followed it up by reply please rather than just a comment. So here it is. This is also, I imagine, helpful if you're an empathic human and you'd like to help others and you don't necessarily want to have 1,000,000 degrees or spend a flipping fortune getting them. So firstly, Sarah, I don't know if you know, an MSc is a master's degree. So I'll put MSc on my content if I've not introduced myself. My name's Poppy. I'm a psychotherapist, psychologist, coach. I worked for 30 years, etc. So that people have got context. In order to get a master's degree, I think everywhere, you need a bachelor's, you need a first degree in order to study postgraduate. So my first degree was in psychology and sociology, and my second degree is in counselling psychology and psychotherapy. I also have a number of diplomas in psychology and in psychotherapy. I've also trained globally for 30 years. Because I like us and I care about us, I'd like to do a good job. Better than a good job, to be fair, because I haven't had that kind of treatment from the healthcare field. I've been treated very badly, and I also get the pleasure to work with all kinds of different people, from psychiatric issues to peak performance with athletes and so on. The issues fundamentally are the same that bring us into wanting support. And it is, we've turned a blind eye to the red flags and we've become chronically questioning of our worth. And that triggers all kinds of issues of old for us about worthiness issues. And our world, in my opinion, gaslights us to question ourselves and play small, so that the top regret of the dying is, I wish I'd had the courage to live my life instead of the life I thought other people wanted of me. That's a very huge, painful life to lead if you end up on your deathbed thinking that, feeling that, or that's being the reality, and then you're actually saying it to your loved ones as you go, is I wish I'd have done it differently. And that kind of guilt and grief runs through generations and causes a lot of collateral damage. So for me, I'm about mastery, mastering whatever this is so that we can thrive. My company is Academy for Self-Mastery, mastering what you think, feel and do. So obviously I must do that for myself behind the scenes, to have coaching for my business, for my personal life, to have therapy, definitely, and clinical supervision. And even though you don't need clinical supervision at my level, to me it's responsible, particularly given the kinds of things that I often hear. I've also taught in universities, lectured and managed placements for doctoral students, and my standards are very high because it's quite something to be with a human who's been hurt, who'd like the best of life. And so we get to be trained well. And a lot of people, unfortunately, in the caring professions, psychotherapy, counselling and so on, don't have their own therapy and so on. Some do, a lot don't. So a lot of people were held to account before they went out to work with clients. I positioned it that, we got to be walking our talk, folks. So what I also discovered about 15 years ago is that coaching is imperative in my world for us to have the life that we want, i.e., what do we want? In psychotherapy, people often say, what's the problem? What brings you? When I met Tony Robbins, he said to me, what do you want? Nobody had asked me that, which was part of the problem for me. And I would say other people. So I coach too. We look at the past what's relevant there, what may be stuck still, what may be causing problems now. We look at psychology in terms of thinking, feeling, and doing. Elite insider knowledge, I love that stuff, to do a very, very good job with people. I couldn't call my business that if I'm not flipping living it. Equally, though, what I would say to any of you, if you care, if you've been through trouble, that's your degree, that's your excellence, is your own real life experiences that if you choose, you can share for credibility. Tony Robbins, for example, arguably in my mind is the best practical psychologist in the world. He doesn't have a degree. However, what he did do, and I would advise for all of us, is find mentors you respect that you'd like to be like and immersively learn from them for life. The richest person in the room, generally speaking, is the person who solves the biggest problem. So whilst, Sarah, you're the only person in my whole career who's ever asked about my degrees, in my mind, because people want to know, can your services help me? Can I trust you to support me to have what I want? That's generally, people don't want to know that I was crying myself to sleep for flipping decades about statistics and so on. People care, can you do what you say you can do? Equal to that is when I say to you, I work for you, I'm unaffiliated. What I'm talking to there is a number of years ago, my profession went on lockdown for freedom of speech. So there's three things fundamental to my field. One is the Hippocratic Oath, do no harm. The other is the Nuremberg Code, don't experiment on the public, particularly given the genocidal, horrible stuff that's happened to us in our history before now. And the other is informed consent, which means the public gets to have full and thorough, unredacted, non-biased, non-censored information about their health and what's being offered in healthcare so that you can make your own decision about what you would like to do about your health. Very sadly, the healthcare profession has punished clinicians for wanting to honour those oaths and ethics. So I, like many people, parted ways with governing bodies, so I self-regulate and trust my mentors to have eyes on me, to guide me in the way that they see fit. And I work with them about morality, about supervision, and so on. So, if you have a look at my name, I'm not very popular when it comes to institutional politics and gaslighting and so on, because I speak truth to power. And to me, it's fundamentally important, again, that we are real and show up real in life because of the kinds of things we can end up saying at the end of life. I wouldn't be inviting my clients to talk truthfully, to explore truthfully what they want, what they don't want, and so on. Meanwhile, being governed by bodies that are at odds with morality and ethics. My business works on care for the public. So that's very much what I do. And Sarah, good for you for pushing back, my love, and asking questions. Please keep doing it. I'm very pro us. We get to ask the questions so we get the answers that we need to make full and thorough, informed decisions about who we choose and what we choose in pursuit of our greatest optimum health. So thank you for you. Please like, follow, share the video if you'd like to, and I will see you again if I'm lucky. Send in love.